they're power hungry and they want to kick you and they just blast in there. All right? So that's the second type, the intellectual and the thug, using just power, raw power. But there's another one too, which is pure energy. Okay, a lot of ADD kids come in like that, or HDAD. They have so much energy they can't control it. Okay, and one of the things we talk about is the unification of body, mind, and spirit. Unification of body, mind, and spirit. To me and him, that's what Taekwondo meant. And he kind of gave that to me, and I believe in it 100%. But everything has to be kept in balance. Okay? If you're too intellectual, all right, you can be so smart, and then all of a sudden this guy comes in with this incredible energy and just go through you like a buzzsaw. Because if you're flat, no matter how much intellectual ability you have, you're going to get beat up. All right? Same thing with a brawler. You can get an intellectual out here, and he's fighting a really smart game, and this brawler says, I don't care, kick me anyway. If the intellectual doesn't throw a proper, exactly perfect kick, the guy will go in there and just dust them. So where does that leave you? And this is what I teach and have taught for years. You got to be all three. You got to be intellectual in your approach. All right? You've got to have fire. You've got to have that fire. You've got to have that okay? And you got to be a thug. But I'm the smallest kid in class. I know. Be a thug. Do they expect it? No. Stand for a second. All right. When I competed back in the day, all right, we didn't have the weight classes we do now. We had 4 weight classes, if we were lucky, usually 3. Well, if it was a big tournament, we had 4 weight classes. I was always the smallest guy. There might be one guy smaller than me. All right, you fight through your division, and if you win the division, then the lightweights fight the middleweights. And you figure out who wins there. The light heavyweights, they fight their division. The winner of that fights the winner of the heavyweight division. Then the winner of that fight fights the winner of the middleweight and lightweight fight, and that is the grand champion. And that's when grand champion was really grand champion. It was horrible, because I was pretty good. And there were times where I won my division, I beat the middleweight. And now I got this littlest guy that was on the corner down here is now fighting the biggest guy in the entire tournament sometimes. What does he not expect? A bully. Does he expect a bully? No. So we bow in, we take fighting stance, okay? And I edge in a little bit. If he didn't blitz me, I'm gone. No way I'm gonna let him hit me. But if he stands or if he starts to make a move, pow! And I've chased these big guys out of the ring. And it surprised the heck out of me. He actually fell for that. If he'd have blown like this, I'd have fell over. But you got to know when to change tactic. And tactic is not always intellectual. Sometimes tactic is emotional. You got to have that fire. Okay? Now, when I fought big guys, that's not usually what made me win, right? But it gained their respect. Wow, that little sucker came right at me. You're darn right I did. And I'm going to come at you again, and that's a lot. I'm not coming at him again. He's ready for it now. What I'm going to do, though, is make him think I am. So I go running in there, and he blasts me. Wham! And then I get out of there. Do I have a point? So hopefully I get a point the first time through. I get a point the second time through. Next time, I have chicken. I play chicken. He makes a move, I go back in again. Now back then it was point style. 3 points, I won. I don't know how many times I won. Now if I actually got in a street fight with this guy, he'd kill me. But it's not a street fight. It's a tournament. And it's a game. Do you have strategy? Learn strategy and tactics. In a real street fight situation, you just change the technique you use. So instead of, you know, hitting a legal point up in here, it's all legal now. Okay? You kick him in the leg, you poke his eye out, spit in his eye, whatever you gotta do, right? And the fact that I'm a lightweight is an advantage in that case. It's an advantage. But when I teach forms, eat birds. I want you to be fish. When you turn as one. When you turn the other way, you turn as one. When you come down the middle, you come as one. I remember a time when we had the Cherville School, we'd have all our black belts lined up, but you'd go through a form, and everybody, you didn't look down the road and say, okay, when's the high ray going to make his turn? No. You knew. You felt it. See, human beings are more advanced than a bird. But we're so advanced, we're so arrogant that we don't think we need to stay tuned in to each other. And tuned in on that intellectual and that spiritual level. But it exists. One book I read years ago, he said Americans eat too many mashed potatoes. Now we can't feel the energy. Well, maybe it's mashed potatoes or lettuce, I don't know, but hamburgers, probably Big Macs. It stops us, it blinds us, we can't feel like we used to, all right? But listen, how many of you have done some Wing Chun before? I know you have, you've done some, all right? Have you gotten to the point where you can close your eyes and they can't get in? And feel it? Yeah. That's the same thing on a different level, but it's the same thing. Learning how to feel. Now, you can feel their energy change. But I want